What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Don Juan Sports from the Hurry Up. Let's get into it. Before we get to the football, we got some good stuff for you coming from football. But before we get into it, we're going into the playoffs. This could be do or die for the Yankees tonight. Will they go on to the next round? Will they be playing Saturday against the Rangers, or will it be the Detroit Tigers? We'll find out tonight. First pitch at 8 o'clock. Watch the game. These games are always fun because you never know what the other manager does. I know there's been a lot of posturing about Verlander and whether he'll play or not, or CC whether he'll play or not. This is do or die. This is the playoffs. You put all that to bed. You're like, listen, I mean, if you're down a lot and you need to get back into the game, like if it's a close game, then you might do that. If it's not a close game, or you think you're controlling the game, then you may not want to do that. But it's a coach's or manager's decision to do what they want to do, or feel what's right for their team. And hey, you never know. You knock out the Yankees, you may be a World Series champ. The Yankees knock you out, they may be going to the World Series. So we don't know what happens. This is the playoffs. This is why they play the game. This is why it's so much fun. These games right here, elimination games. I hear they're going to make the playoffs a one-game series. When you're in, that'll be pretty good for the playoff format. It'll generate more money ratings wise, because they're not going to be spread out over 5 games or 7 games. It's like the NFL. You get so much coin for every commercial that you make that it'll probably be beneficial to them. But they're going to go over all that in their labor talks in December. But let's get on to the football as well. Jam packed. First off, I want to talk about a few teams, a few games, and then we'll get into a certain team that's really on the map right now. 3 games I want to talk about. The 3 NFC East teams that played. Not the Redskins. Redskins won. I'm talking about the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Eagles. Those 3 games. And I'm not talking about those. I'm going to talk about the games kind of individually, break it down for you. The 49ers versus Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants against the Cardinals. And the Cowboys against Detroit. Now, I'm going to start with the Giants versus Cardinals just because I want to start with that and get them out of the way first. First off, it was a fun game. A lot of back and forth. It shows you that there is talent in the NFL, and maybe that the lockout has hurt teams in that way. But what I can tell you is Patrick Peterson is good. The Giants dodged the bullet. Whether or not you believe the ref is right, the rule is what the rule is. Now, people are going to get back to me and say, what about Eli Manning? Eli Manning did the same thing. He was declaring himself down, but he didn't drop down to the ground and give himself up. He kind of slid to the ground. Very, very iffy call. Go either way. But the Giants won 3-1 in comeback fashion. I think it shows a lot. You could have easily wilted there, even though they're not a great team, the Arizona Cardinals. Could have easily wilted there, and that would have been easy to do. It's easy to give up like that, especially with all the injuries they've had. Justin Tuck, unfortunately, I don't know. He's going to have an up and down year. I think that he's going to deal with that neck injury all year long. If not, he's going to go on IR. If the Giants have a tank season, they're going to put him on IR probably. That's usually what happens. A little minor news, Chad Henne is gone for the Miami Dolphins, but that's Chad Henne, so I doubt it made much of a ripple effect. Let's get to the next game, shall we? Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys versus the Detroit Lions. Now, this game was fun. You had the Cowboys win. The Cowboys have been up. This is funny about the Cowboys. Cowboys should probably be 4-0. Cowboys should probably be 4-0. You had 2 games where you had the lead and lost it in the final quarters. 2 games where you had the lead and you lost it in the final quarters. The Jet game, opening night, and the Detroit Lion game. The game against the Redskins, you weren't gonna. The Redskins did have the ball and they were driving, but your defense came through. So in the other game, you won convincingly. Oh, actually, no, wait. The 49er game. So technically, the 49er game, the game that you did win, the comeback fashion, you could have easily lost that game too. So the Cowboys could either be 0-4 or 4-0. Right now they're sitting at 2-2. I think that's great for them to be sitting there. You're still in the hunt. Now we'll really see what the Cowboys can correct. But you can see a trend here. something's not right with the Cowboys because they've been up in a lot of games and teams have come roaring back. And this is happening to all the NFC East teams, except for the Redskins. They came roaring back on people too. They came back on the Cardinals. So it's going to be an up and down year for the NFC East. I think but what I do like about the Lions, and I know Tony Romo threw 2 pick sixes. You got that is a product of coaching as well as a product of the player. Yes, the player threw 2 picks, but the coach has got to realize safe throws, and handing the ball off and punt it. Let your defense win your ball game. You gave them 14 points off turnovers that their offense didn't have to do anything. And then when their offense did start to kick in and their defense actually played a little bit, they came down and scored on you. And you rather have had them come down and score on you, it probably would have put the game out of reach because them taking up time for long drives would have essentially probably won you the game. But you spotted them 14 points. They came back and beat you guys in the end of regulation with the best receiver in the game right now, Calvin Johnson. Now I want to talk a little bit about the Lions before we move on to the next game and then the last team we're going to talk about. Lions, they're learning how to win. This is what you do. This is not your your Lions of 4 or 5 years ago, the 0-16 team or whatever that was, where they just wilted. By the way, they didn't lose many of those games by more than 7 points. The point is, they're learning how to win. Start taking them for real. They're building talent on that team. Starts through the draft. Starts through key acquisitions and free agency. Right now, they don't have great free agents. They have good free agents that can hold seat warms as they build that team. So look out for that. We'll have my picks on Sunday, all games, plus some questions from some fans who want to know certain things about the game, about the NFL. Check those questions out. But before we go, we got the Philadelphia Eagles to talk about right now. I don't know what's going on in Philadelphia. I think it's their defense. They're having a lot of trouble. Michael Vick complained against the Giants about getting hit too hard. That was the offensive line. This time I have no, you lost the game. You lost the game, period. You didn't tackle. You let them come back in the game. You watch the highlights. There are broken tackles after broken tackle after broken tackle. You're not going to win games if you don't tackle people. Plus, hold on to football. Jeremy Maclin, you got to hold on to the football. Right there, you hold on to the ball. We're not even talking about this. You're 2-2, not 1-3. They're going to Buffalo. It's going to be a tough game in Buffalo. Don't think that Buffalo is going to be any slouch. They just lost to the Bengals, who they overlooked. Probably looking at you guys coming in and saying, this is our chance to prove something. Look for Buffalo to come out fired up in that game. Last team I want to talk about, the New York Jets. You obviously saw that abysmal performance on Sunday. That absolutely trash performance on Sunday. Garbage. Actually, the Ravens' offense didn't really do much, but they did enough to win the game. They managed the game well after their defense scored a couple of touchdowns in that game. Well, more like 3 or 4 touchdowns in that game. Really cemented it. Now, everyone's blaming the quarterback and all this stuff. Even San Antonio Holmes said the O-line stinks, the quarterback stinks, basically blaming everybody. San Antonio, you got to be quiet, man. Be quiet. You're not in Pittsburgh anymore. You're in New York. What that means is, if you're in New York, no matter what you say, how you say it, it's going to be flipped. These guys aren't the terrible towels. They're not going to pat you on the back and say, oh, good game, you'll get them next week. No, this is the New York media. They will eat you alive. San Antonio Holmes, welcome to New York. You didn't do anything last year. You're riding high on that jet, that jet window. You're riding high. Bang. You just got slapped by the media. Keep your mouth shut. Stop tweeting. Tweeting is the worst thing for athletes right now because people are taking their stuff out of context. Caught myself there. The stuff out of context. And that is what happens when you talk. And especially when you're talking about teammates. You're supposed to keep that in-house. If you don't like a guy, you don't like a guy. Don't go running your mouth to the media, to Twitter, to any of these other things saying you don't like people. Because you know what? People read that stuff. There are people out there looking for stuff all day long to see if they can be the first to comment on it, the first to write a story about it, the first to misconstrue your words. I'm Adam. This has been a elongated edition of the Hurry Up Checkout Sunday. We got some questions from some fans of my show. For Sunday's games, I'll have my picks. Good luck. It's been your midweek report. I'll be back on Sunday. Holla at your boy. See you later.